The throne room of the Valthren warship Crimson Talon fell silent as Zira Valthren, queen of the Zephyr Empire, watched something impossible unfold before her violet eyes. Her prize war beast, the legendary Kravok, a creature bred across 7 generations to be the perfect killing machine, sat obediently at the feet of a human. Not just any human, but a grimy, oil-stained mechanic who had been captured only 3 cycles ago, during a raid on a frontier mining colony. Kravok. "Anhility," Zyra commanded in her native tongue, her voice sharp as shattered glass. The 6-legged predator, covered in midnight black scales with rows of crystalline teeth, didn't even glance her way. Its 12 eyes remained fixed on the human, tail swishing gently like a content pet. Rylan Voss crouched beside the beast, one hand casually scratching behind its sensory ridge. "Easy there, big guy," he murmured, his voice calm and measured. "You're doing great." The throne room erupted in whispers. Zira's 4-armed form trembled with barely contained rage, her bioluminescent markings flaring crimson. "What sorcery is this?" she hissed, descending the steps of her obsidian throne. Her ornate battle armor clinked with each movement, ceremonial blades catching the harsh overhead lights. Ryland stood slowly, wiping his hands on his already filthy jumpsuit. "No sorcery, Your Majesty. Just physics and a little understanding of biology." He had been in the ship's lower maintenance tunnels when guards had dragged him topside, claiming the Queen's personal war beast had gone berserk and only he could calm it. "Explain yourself, human, before I have you vaporized where you stand." Zira's hand moved to the plasma pistol at her hip. The mechanic shrugged. "Your Kravok here has a neurological implant in its cerebral cortex, right? Military-grade obedience chip, if I had to guess. Saw the scar tissue when I was doing maintenance on the deck below the beast pens last week." He pointed to a barely visible ridge behind the creature's main sensory cluster. "Thing is, your ship's electromagnetic field. Generators. The ones I've been trying to tell your engineers are misaligned. They're creating interference patterns that scramble the implant signal." Zyra's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Our technology is flawless." "Your technology is brilliant," Rylan corrected, his tone respectful but firm. "But nothing's perfect. I noticed the EM fluctuations 3 days ago. Been trying to submit a maintenance report, but well..." He gestured to the collar around his neck, the universal sign of a prisoner. "Nobody much listens to the human wrench-turner." The Queen's military advisor, a towering Zephyr male named Kess, stepped forward. "My Queen, he speaks falsehoods to save his worthless hide. Our systems were designed by the Imperial Academy's finest..." "Then why?" Rylan interrupted, earning gasps from the assembled court. "Is Kravok's implant reading at 47% efficiency instead of the standard 95%? He pulled a small diagnostic tool from his pocket, one he'd cobbled together from spare parts. The device projected a holographic readout that even the Zephyr couldn't deny. Kess's facial tendrils twitched in barely concealed shock. Zira stared at the readings, her rage transforming into cold calculation. "You can repair this?" "I can realign your EM generators and recalibrate the implant's receptor frequency," Rylan confirmed. "But here's the thing. I've been working with Kravok differently. Without the implant interference, I've been using positive reinforcement training. Old Earth technique works on everything from dogs to dolphins." He pulled a small piece of synthetic meat from his pocket. "Your beast here responds better to rewards than pain compliance." "Preposterous," Kess snarled. "Kravok is a weapon, not a pet." Rylan turned to the creature. "Kravok, stance 7. The predator immediately shifted into an attack posture. Muscles coiled, teeth bared. "Hold." It froze, perfectly still. "Easy." The beast relaxed, settling back onto its haunches. The throne room fell deathly quiet. "He performs better this way," Rylan explained. "Faster response times, more initiative in combat situations, stronger bond with handlers. Your implant tech forces obedience, but it dulls instinct. I've seen your combat logs. Kravok's kill efficiency dropped 23% after you had the chip installed." Zira's expression was unreadable. She had built her reputation on superior military technology, on dominance through force, and now this human, this insignificant mechanic from a backwater species, was suggesting there was a better way. A human way. "You will fix my ship's systems," she commanded finally. "And you will train my beast handlers in your methods." She nearly choked on the admission. "In return, your status will be elevated from prisoner to contracted specialist." Rylan nodded slowly. I'll need full access to the engineering decks and the beast pens. And I want a direct comm line to submit maintenance reports. No more ignored warnings. Audacious, Zira breathed, but something like respect flickered in her eyes. You realize you're negotiating with an empress? I'm negotiating with someone who wants her ship running at peak efficiency and her war beast performing optimally, Rylan countered. That's just good business, regardless of species. For a long moment, the Queen studied him. Here was a human who showed no fear, who saw problems where her people saw perfection, who treated a killer predator with the same care he'd give to an engine in need of tuning. It was infuriating. It was intriguing. Agreed, she said finally. But know this, Rylan Voss, if you fail, both you and that beast will be ejected into the void. Rylan scratched Kravok behind the sensory ridge one more time. The predator rumbled contentedly, a sound that sent shivers through the assembled Zephyr court. Won't be necessary, Your Majesty. Humans have been working with animals for thousands of years. We've gotten pretty good at it. As the guards escorted him back to the engineering decks with significantly more respect than before, Zyra Valthren remained on her throne, watching her prized war beast follow the human mechanic like a loyal companion. She had conquered 17 star systems. She commanded fleets that made entire civilizations tremble. But in that moment, the alien queen realized something that would haunt her strategic calculations for years to come. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their numbers, it was their uncanny ability to make allies out of anything, even monsters bred for war, and that terrified her more than any weapon ever could.